Good afternoon. Welcome to class webinar. Let's wait for a few seconds to let other audience join us. Good afternoon. Welcome to class webinar. Today, we are going to talk about everyone's favorite topic, winding up a fund on class. Before we start, here is something you should be aware of. The information in this presentation isn't financial, tax, or legal advice to your or your client's specific situations. While we've aimed for accuracy, please treat it as information, not advice. It's general guidance on using class software. For specific guidance, please consult professionals or do your own research. No guarantees on accuracy, and information may become outdated as the product improves. Hello, everyone. My name is Yao, and I will give you the presentation today. We also have panelists Garima, Helen, and Yvonne to answer your questions during this webinar. Here is what we will cover. Firstly, I will share you with some general winding up information, such as the reason for winding up a fund and common steps taken. And then our primary focus will be on the 5 key processes in class, along with a case study to demonstrate how to wind up a fund in class software. Then we are going to address a common winding up questions, early lodgement challenge. Let's just warm up ourselves with some general information. Why the fund is going to be wound up. Common reasons include personal situation changes. For example, trustees cannot effectively manage the fund due to lack of time or permanent incapacity. Another reason could be disputes between trustees, like relationship breakdown or different opinions to run the fund. Poor performing investments and low balance in the superfund could be another consideration for winding up, especially if the fund is incurring significant losses. All members leaving the fund may lead to wind up as well. This can happen when all members' benefits are paid out, rolled over to another fund, or members passed away. Other compliance issues, like SMSF no longer meeting residential rules due to trustee moving overseas, could be another reason. Now, I will share you a checklist of steps for winding up. It is important to clarify that I'm not providing an exactly to-do list. Rather, this is a general guideline to ensure no outstanding obligations and proper deregistration process. First of all, please read the fund trust deed. Trust deed could have important information about winding up the fund, such as the requirement to sell all investments instead of in specie transfer. Trustee can organize their own meeting. You could obtain written agreement from all trustees and keep the minutes with the fund's record. The next one is to dispose fund assets in line with super laws and the trust deed. Then, finalizing tax and compliance is important. Prepare the annual return, meet reporting obligations like lodging a T-bar event for pension commutation. Please know that each fund is unique. Check for other reporting obligations, such as PAYG installments and GST. Paying outstanding expenses and tax liabilities is also important to cover fees of fund administration, auditing, and any final invoices, as well as outstanding tax. For member benefits payment, if the member meets a condition of release, they can choose whether to take a cash payment or take rollover. If no condition of release is met, benefits must be rolled over to another complying superfund. Then the final auditing needs to be finished, and before lodgement, please review the annual return section A to answer the winding up question, and review the super levy in section D. The super levy is paid in advance, so for a winding up fund, it does not need to pay it. Then you could start to consider the step to notify third parties, especially if there is a corporate trustee involved, notifying ASIC for the registration and resigning director's purpose. then the SMSF bank account could be closed. Please be mindful that closing bank account too early could even delay the wind-up process. Let's now focus on the key processes. I will introduce 5 key processes firstly, and then show you a real case study to process a winding-up fund in Class Super. Typically, the first step involves processing the sale of all investments in class. This is common in winding-up funds, often due to some restrictions on in-specie transfer, such as the upper fund not accepting off-market transfer during a rollover process. If the fund has a pension account, please remember to update pension review end date. Class calculates the pension minimum for the whole financial year, but a winding-up fund only pays pension minimum from 1st of July to the winding-up date or full commutation date. If the pension is fully commuted, use the full commutation date for minimum calculation. Also, you may consider to notify the trustees members that insurance and GST credits stop after fund winding up. Specific insurance policies linked with the fund will stop with winding up. You could inform members about the discontinuation of insurance coverage. Before the winding up day and the final member benefit payment, an initial payment for the member could be prepared. You may want to check with your auditor if they have any specific requirements regarding to the remaining cash balance left for a winding up fund. Some auditors may prefer the balance left in the fund as low as possible. Usually, the winding up minutes may provide a guidance on how the initial benefit can be taken, such as a lump sum or rollover. This helps reduce the remaining member balance, making it easier to estimate accrued interest and prepare financials. Please estimate whether the fund will be in a refundable or payable position and check for any outstanding expenses when preparing the initial benefit amount. You can use clause to estimate the tax position by reconciling the fund as much as possible, running tax finalization, and checking the annual return to get the current tax position. I will show you in the case study later. If the fund is still payable, please make sure there is enough balance to cover the income tax and expenses before letting the member take the initial benefit payment. Accruing outstanding expenses and interest is another step you may need to consider. In practice, closing the SMSF bank account on the exactly winding up day can be very challenging. It's usually not possible to finalize tax, finish auditing, lodge the fund, receive the ATO income, like income tax refund, and close the bank account on the same day. Therefore, the winding up process often involves the best and reasonable estimation. Accrued outstanding expenses and interests are good examples. For example, from the winding up date until the bank account closes, the account may still receive interest, and there may be fees to pay, like fund administration and corporate trustee deregistration fees. I will demonstrate accruing expenses and calculating an accrued interest in the case study later. The last step is to finalize the tax and achieve a new balance sheet. Please check with your auditor for which kind of the balance sheet they want to have. This help guide article in this slide explains how to accrue the income tax using customer holding account, and it gives the example of 2 different kinds of balance sheets the auditor may accept. In practice, some auditors may prefer the new balance sheet with 0 asset, 0 liability, and 0 equity, which is the example 2 on the right-hand side. While some auditors may accept the balance sheet where assets equal with liability to make the equity to be 0, which is the example 1. The following case study will demonstrate how to achieve a new balance sheet, such as example 2, which is very common required by the auditor, but involves more steps. Here are two reminders. Firstly, about the tax statement. As there is no tax statement available in the middle of the financial year, you can either disregard or process a dummy one. Class treats distribution as assessable income without a tax statement. Secondly, for superstream concerns, if the expected tax refund is a part of the final rollover benefit, please submit the superstream request only after the tax refund is received by the superfund. Please be mindful that you have the flexibility to adjust the order of the listed steps based on the real scenario. For example, you can review the pension minimum after selling all investments, or you just do it at the start of the financial year if the winding up or full commutation date is known earlier. Welcome to our case study. I will demonstrate how to process the 5 key steps in clause from beginning to tax finalization, achieving a zero balance sheet. For this case study, let's assume the wound-up date is 14th of February 2024. Initial member benefit taken by pension drawdown. Final member benefit agreed to be rolled over to another complying superfund, which is a rollover out. Assume this is all documented in the winding up minutes. I understand that in the real scenario, it's not usual for members to take the initial benefit as cash and roll over the final benefits to another superfund. This case study is designed to demonstrate both scenarios of taking cash and processing a rollover. It's for demonstration purpose only. Now, let's begin our case study. You could see this fund has 2 members, each with a pension account. I have used my name and borrowed my panelist Yvonne's name to set up this testing fund. And you could see the FY23 has already been lodged and closed, which is the last financial year. Remember our key processes. At the beginning, I am going to process the investment sale. Let me just show you the browse holding account screen. If I change the day to the 30th of June 2023, you could see the fund has a list of investments, including listed securities and managed funds. It also has 2 bank accounts, which is CBA and BT Cash, linked to the BT Panorama investment portfolio. Let's just update the date to today. You could see as today, I have sold majority of the investments. Only NAB has 3,000 balance left. Let's process the sale events together. I will go to transaction, match transaction. I locate the cash received for the NAB disposal, click on the 3 dots, match to new. And I just find investment sale, listed security disposal. And I find NAB account. I just leave the day using the cash day, click on sell all, and then submit. Okay, let's just go to the browse holding account screen. Now, all investments have been sold out, leaving only bank accounts with a balance. Next, let's review the pension minimum. If I just run a pension limit report for FY24, let's just wait for a few seconds to let the system bring the report for us. You must be familiar with that. Just be patient with the system. Okay, here we go. So you will see Yao's pension accounts need 54,000 minimum for the whole year. And there is still an amount to be taken to meet the minimum. You can see there is still required for minimum amount. Let's just go to members, browse members then, and click on the pension 01 account for Yao. Click on next period. I will just put the end date as 14th of February 2024. don't forget to click on calculate payments, and then I just save it. I just run the pension limit report again. Just wait for another few seconds. Okay, we got this report. So you could see the updated report shows the minimum is now 33,790. This is calculated from the 1st of July to the winding up day, and the pension minimum has already been met. You could see the status become okay. So that's the reason why we suggest you to do the pension review for the winding up fund. Let's now move to the step to prepare initial member benefit payments. Remember, we assume that the initial member benefit is going to be taken by pension drawdown. Before the member takes out the initial benefit, it is very important to estimate whether the fund will be in a payable or refundable position. Remember, I also mentioned that class could help you with this estimation. I have finished the reconciliation. You could see no outstanding business transaction, and I know I have entered all the cash transaction up to date. So I could just use class to estimate the current tax position. To achieve that, let's go to the fund details first and edit, and I will put a date in the fund end day. This is the winding up day, and then I just save it. With this fund end day entered, I can actually run a period update to the winding up day. Let's go to the periodic processing, period update, new period. And let's do a period update to the 14th of February. Okay, process. With that fund end day set, I can finalize the tax. So you can see I can click on finalize tax. Please know that even though I can finalize the tax, but the view tax return function is not available in the middle of the financial year. So to check the tax position, let's just go to the report and bring an annual return. Okay, I just run this report. I just click on OK to pass this warning message. That warning message only say we haven't run the period update to the year end, but because we just finalized the tax using the winding update, so we can ignore that. So let's just review the section D. Okay. Okay, I find this section D figure. This is a negative amount, so which means this year is highly likely in a refundable position. Okay, let's now consider outstanding expenses. I check the fund structure. Without a corporate trustee, there is no need to worry about the deregistration fee. And I can see the bank account. It pays regularly administration, advisor, investment management fee, but they are not very big amount. They are not significant. Additionally, you can confirm with the member if there are any potential expenses to be paid from the SMSF bank account in the future. In this testing fund scenario, there seems to be no significant expenses payable, and the fund is highly likely to be in a refundable position. So I could suggest the member to take as much as they can, and it would be safe. However, for demonstration purpose, I will still leave some balance in the fund. Considering we assume the member will take the final benefit as a rollover out, this remaining balance will be used to demonstrate the process of the final rollover later. Okay, let's just assume today is the 12th of February, 2024, when I am preparing the initial member benefit payment. I will arrange the member to withdraw the money on the same day. Now, I am going to run a period update to the 11th of February, 2024. I just roll back the tax finalization and roll back this period update. Go back. And I just run the period update to the 11th of February, 2024. Okay, process. This is the 1 day before the initial benefit is taken. The aim for this period update is to get the most accurate member balance on the 12th of February, 2024. So I will just bring a member summary report. I will change the date to 12th of February, 2024, just to get this report. I want to run this report because I want to see the closing balance at the 12th of February. Yeah, so you can see now we know the Yao's balance and Yvonne's member balance as at the 12th of February. And another reason I want to bring this report is to determine how to allocate the initial member benefit between different members. Regarding to the allocation, you could discuss this with the member to decide how to allocate the initial member benefit payments. Some members in the winding up fund may prefer a pro rata approach, where the member with more balance take more, and the member with less balance take less. Other funds may have members who want to get rid of the balance for one particular member account first. So it is important to talk and agree on the allocation with your members. Assuming in our scenario, Yao wants to take more and Yvonne wants to take less. Based on that fact, Yao has more balance left on that particular day. So we suggest Yao to take 1,100,000, and we suggest Yvonne to take 140,000. And Yao and Yvonne, they are happy with this allocation. We could process the pension drawdown events accordingly. So I just go to transactions, member expenses, and pension drawdown. I will leave the date as 12th of February, 2024. And the Yao will take 1,100,000, and Yvonne will take 140,000, and the total amount will be 1,240,000. Let's just review it one more time. Date, balance to allocate is 0. Okay, I will submit this event. Remember, we assume that we are preparing this initial benefit on the 12th of February, 2024. And Yvonne and Yao just takes out the amount straight away on the date after we discuss this with them. And then we just locate a cash out transaction in the CBA. Let's say we locate it from the data feed on the 12th of February with the description, initial member benefit payment, and the amount is 1 million. Just save this. And we locate another cash out transaction in the BT account, again on the 12th of February 2024. And the description again, initial member benefit payment, and the amount is 240,000. Okay, let's just say we locate those two transactions, the cash out transaction, from the data feed or just from the cash transaction report. And the member have suggested that those two cash out transactions are for initial member benefit payments. So we can then just match it with the pension drawdown events on the 12th of February, 2024. Let's say after processing these initial benefit payments on the 12th of February, after a couple of days, we start to accrue expenses and interest on the 29th February, which is today's date. Begin by reviewing the BT cash account. I can see it pays advisor fee and investment management fee on a monthly basis. Then the next consideration when doing accrual is when to close this bank account. As we have discussed before, the hard part for processing the winding up fund is all about estimation. It is important to have everything. It is impossible to have everything happening, such as passing auditing, receiving tax refund from the ATO, and closing the bank account on the same day. It's impossible, right? So we need to use our best estimation to predict when the bank account could be closed. In this case, I estimate the bank account could be closed around the end of April, particularly around the 26th of April. I make this estimation after considering the normal speed of my familiar auditor and the speed of the paper lodgement. With this in mind, I will accrue fees for March and April in the BT Cash account. While in the real life, there is a chance the advisor and investment management fee could stop after investments are fully sold out. For the purpose of demonstration, let's assume those fees won't be waived and need to be paid until the bank account closes. You could calculate accrued expenses using your spreadsheet or process them directly in the bank account for easier review. Let me just process the estimated transactions in class for you to review. Before we doing that, let's just go to fund details. And I will just remove the end day for now. Save it. Okay. Now let's just go to the gross bank statements and select the BT Cash account. And I will just add the 15th of March 2024. I add the advisor fee for the estimated purpose and with a cash out amount $15. And on the 31st of March, I add the investment management fee estimated for $5. For April, on the 15th of April 2024, I will accrue the advisor fee estimated for $15 again. That is just because I see every month it pays those two expenses. So for April, I only estimate the advisor fee on the 15th, and I do not estimate the investment management fee on the 30th. That's because I predict the bank account will be closed around the 26th of April. If it closes before the 30th of April, there is no need to accrue the investment management fee on that day, assuming that I know the fee is paid using direct debit, and if the account is closed before the direct debit date, the fee won't be charged. Let's just move to CBA then. I can see it pay administration fee and auditor fee every month. So I just estimate the 15th of March, there would be another administration fee of $80. And 30th of March, there would be another auditor fee, $30, and also 15th of April, administration fee for $80 again. Again, I did not accrue the auditor fee for the 30th of April because I estimate this bank account can be closed before that day. Okay, after considering those expenses, let's think about accruing potential interest. I will use CBA as an example. To accrue the interest, you could find the interest rate from the bank statement, online search, or by asking the member for this information directly. Let's say I do the online searching and find the interest rate is 2.35% for the CBA, and this account calculates interest on a daily basis. I just make my own calculator in the Excel. Okay. You could see after searching online, I have taken a screenshot of the 2.35% annual interest rate for this account. To accrue the March 2024 interest, I need to figure out the March bank balance based on my estimation and previously processed accrued estimated expenses. For example, from the 1st of March 2024 to the 14th of March 2024, there are in total 14 days with the balance of $11,500 453.30 cents. You can locate this balance here. So I use this balance times 14 days and then times the interest rate, divided it by the total days in 2024, which is the 366 days to get the estimated interest. I then repeat those calculations for the following periods. Adding up these estimated interest together, it gives me an estimated interest amount of 22.71. Please note that this calculation is based on the fact this bank account calculates interest on a daily basis. Please consider your own scenario when accruing interest. Okay. I will then just add this interest in the bank account. I will leave the description as interest estimated, and I just save this one. Again, I won't accrue the interest for April, as I predict this bank account will be closed around the 26th of April. Since interest is paid on the last day of the month, April's interest won't be received based on my prediction. Okay, we have finished the accrued interest calculation, and we have listed estimated expenses for accruing purpose. To record those accrued amounts, you have two options. One is to manually update the cash transaction date. See all the cash transaction after the winding up day up to the day before the winding up. So you could see all the cash transaction after the winding up date. You can manually update the cash transaction date to any day before the winding up date, and then match them to the business events before the winding up date as well. The idea for this option is to not leave any cash transaction in the bank account after the winding up date in clause. The other option is to use customer holding account to record the accrued amounts. The customer holding account method allows you to avoid changing the cash transaction day, making it easier to track accrued amounts in the balance sheet. In this case study, I will show you to record the accrued amounts using the customer holding account. Okay, you could set up the customer holding account through the investments customer holding account. I just set up the first one to accrue outstanding expenses. So I leave the description like accrued outstanding expenses. Then the GL classification could be sundry liability. Just activate. I will then set up another customer holding account, and with the code accrued 02. And this one is to accrue the receivable amount. So I will leave the GL classification as sundry assets. Activate. Okay. Let me just refresh the screen. Okay. Let's just review the BT Cash account first. So you could see, even though the BT Cash account has paid the advisor fee and the investment management fee until today, 29th of February 2024. Considering the winding up date is on 14th of February 2024, we still need to accrue those expenses paid on 15th of February and 29th of February. The key concept here is, regardless of whether expenses or interest are actually paid, received in real life, or just estimated, as long as those transactions occur after the winding up date, we need to accrue them. For the BT Cash account, considering those expenses, I just tick. So those expenses are all happened after the winding up date. So in total, I just do a calculation quickly. In total, there are $55. So I just go to the accrued outstanding expenses custom holding account. On the 14th of February 2024, I just put a cash out amount of the $55 in total. And I will use the description, BT advisor and investment management fee accrued. Okay, I save this transaction. Okay, And let's just go to CBA account and review any cash transactions processed after the 14th of February 2024. I just changed the date range here. So I can see all the transactions after the winding up day, the 14th of February. So I just quickly calculate the fees. You could see the administration fee and auditor fee. So in total, there will be 300. Okay, then I go back to the accrued outstanding expenses on the 14th of February 2024. I just process a cash out of 300 and I leave the description as CBA administration and auditor fee accrue and save this transaction. Okay, let's now review the interest that we need to accrue. So you could see on the 29th of February, we have already received the interest in the CBA account. However, because this interest is received after the winding up date, so we still need to accrue this one, plus the estimated interest we just calculated. So in total, there will be 909 cents interest needs to be accrued. So this time I go to the accrued receivable customer holding account on the 14th of February 2024. I just leave the transaction cash in 909 cents. I just leave the description as CBA accrued interest. Okay, save it. Then we can just go to the match transaction screen to match those business events using the cash transaction day. So firstly, I just run a transaction rule to match as many as transactions as possible. Please note that using the customer holding account method, I do not need to change the business event day. I use the cash transaction day to create the business events. So I leave those days. I just create business events. Okay, so after processing the transaction rule, only 3 accrued cash transaction in the customer holding account left, which I will just manually match it to a business event on the 14th of February. So this one is the interest. I just quickly match it with the interest. Okay, those are the expenses. I just quickly match them. Actually, you could split those accrued expenses into different business events, like auditor fee or fund administration fee. But in our case study, to save time, I just match them to fund administration fee. Yeah, I just quickly match them to the fund administration fee. Submit. Okay. Okay, please know that any transactions, like cash transaction or business events processed after the winding up day will not be taken into consideration by the system. Since we are going to put the fund end day as the winding up day, the system will finalize tax based on that day, and we will review the statement of financial position as at the winding up day as well. So the system will not pick any transactions after the winding up day into tax calculation because we already put the end date. Yeah. So we have now finished accrued outstanding expenses and interest. To review it, let's go to the fund details. And I will just put the fund end day one more time because I'm going to run a period update to the 14th of February and finalize the text to review the statement of financial position. Okay, so I just run another period update to the 14th of February 2024. And okay, it has been processed successfully. Okay, I just finalized the text. Let's just go to the statement of financial position. I will change the date to the February, 14th of February, apply. Okay, you could see, you could see the accrued interest has been picked by the sundry assets, and the accrued expenses has been picked by the sundry liabilities. So that is what we have already done for accruing purpose. Let's now move to our very last stage, finalize tax and bring assets, liabilities, and member entitlements to be zero. We can now see in the asset part, it includes cash at bank, sundry assets, which is the accrued interest we just do, and also a current tax assets. So the current tax assets is actually the income tax refundable amount that will be received after the fund lodged. Remember, we want to get a zero balance sheet, no asset, no liability, and no equity as well. So let's just claim this current tax assets amount first. As this is a refundable amount which will be received after the fund gets lodged, which means at this stage, it is a receivable. So we just go to the accrued receivable accounts on the 14th of February, 2024. I put the description as income tax refund accrued, and I just find the amount, 4,869.60 cents. So I just process a cash in that accrued receivable account. And then I go to match transaction. I just match it to the fund expenses, fund income tax payment. And I will select the year 2024. And because we are going to accrue this tax refundable amount for the current financial year, so I just select the FY24. And before you submit, please just to review the super levy adjustments. Remember, as we discussed before, the winding up fund does not need to pay the super levy. So I just submit this. Okay, if we just review the statement of financial position now, I just click on apply to refresh this page. You should be able to see the current tax assets has disappeared. Actually, it has been moved to this sundry assets account. Then we are going to clean these sundry assets. We could navigate to the browse bank statements again, and we just locate that sundry assets is actually recorded in the accrued receivable account. On the 14th of February, 2024, to clean this account, I need to process a cash out using the balance as at that day. And I will just leave the description as clean sundry assets. Save this transaction. You could see the closing balance has now become zero. Let's just assume the CBA account has already received those receivable. So on the 14th of February, 2024, again, the winding up date, I will just use the description, bring receivable to final cash balance, and I will process a cash in. Assume CBA has already received those amounts. And then I go to match transaction and match those two. Okay, let's just refresh the statement of financial position one more time. Just bear with me a second. Okay, so you could be able to see the sundry assets has been cleaned. In the assets part, only the cash at bank left. So next one, we are going to clean the sundry liabilities. We can use the same idea to clean it. We just go to the bank statements and we find the accrued outstanding expenses. To bring the closing balance to be zero, on the 14th of February 2024, we just process a dummy cash in And I will leave the description as clean sundry liability. Save it. Let's assume this amount has been paid from the CBA and on the 14th of February 2024. And I will just leave the description, reduce payable in final cash balance. And I will just process a cash out transaction on the 14th of February. Then let's go to the match transaction screen. And I can match those two. Let's just refresh the statement of financial position one more time. Yeah. Just wait for a second. Okay. So now you should be able to see the liability has been cleaned. And in the assets part, we only have cash at bank left. Okay. So the next step is to clean the cash at bank. So we go to the bank statements, and I will just put the day range to the 14th of February 2024. And I will add a transaction on the 14th of February 2024 with the description, final benefit payment, and the amount is 16,161 cents. I just go to the BT cash account, and I will just do the same thing for BT. So on the 14th of February, I leave the description as final benefit payment and a cash out transaction 500 to clean the BT closing balance as at the 14th of February. Please know that you do not need to worry about any cash transactions after the 14th of February 2024. Because all the accrued incomes and expenses transactions, we have already used the custom holding accounts to record them. So we just need to clean the bank account balance as at the winding up date. Then remember, we assume the final benefit will be paid as a roll out event for this particular winding up fund. So the next step and the last step is to process the final benefit event. Okay. As the final benefit includes receivable and accrued amounts, think about the refundable income tax we haven't received. Now the fund does not have enough cash to process the rollover in real life. Therefore, at this stage, we cannot submit a superstream event. Instead, we will manually process the rollover out transaction to clean the balance sheet. So before I do the final benefit payment events, I just want to rerun the last period update to clean those modified events. Okay, I just roll back the period update. And I will process a new period update to the 14th of February 2024 to clean those modified events. Okay, let's just process the final member benefit payment events. Because we are going to process a rollover, now the balance is still sitting in the pension account. I probably need to process a pension commutation to bring the pension balance to the accumulation account. So for Yao, I just do it on the 14th of February. And the payment type is to accumulation. And reason, member voluntary, I use full amount. Transfer balance, yeah, I submit it. When processing it, you probably will get a warning message to say the period update needs to be processed to 1 day before the member balance transfer date. To some extent, we could ignore this warning message when processing the winding up final member benefit payment events. As we have processed some transactions on the winding up date, we want to let the system to allocate all profit and loss to our member account to get a most accurate member balance as at the winding up date. Therefore, we can run the period update to the winding up date and then process the final payment event, final member benefit payment events, which leaves those final payment events as modified events. Please note that this is only for the winding up fund member final benefit payment events. When preparing the initial member benefit payment events, such as the initial rollover, we still suggest you to process a period update to 1 day before the initial member benefit payment day. Let me just process the pension commutation for Yvonne first, quickly. This is for another member. And again, on the 14th of February, 2024. And I just use payment to accumulation. Reason is member voluntary, full amount again. Okay, just submit. Ignore that warning message because I'm processing the final benefit payment event. And then I just process the dummy rollover events. Go to transactions, member expenses, find the rollover / lump sum. Firstly, I process it for EL. Yeah. And the description, I leave it as final. And rollover, full amount. Payee detail, I just make up some information to let the system pass the transaction. Submit. Again, ignore this warning. And let's just process the same thing for Yvonne. Again, 14th of February, 2024. Final. And roll over, full amount. Make some fake information here. Okay, submit. Let's just go to the transactions, match transaction screen. Remember, we have processed the 2 cash out transaction to bring the bank account balance to be 0. It will match with the final member benefit payment events. So I just match with them. And let's just refresh our statement of financial position one more time. Okay. Okay, now you should be able to see we have already got a very clean statement of financial position with 0 assets, 0 liability, and 0 equities. Then the fund will pass auditing and get lodged. You need to submit the superstream event later after the superfund bank account receives the income tax refundable amounts. You can then delete the dummy rollover out events by navigating to transactions, browse events, group it by type, and we can locate the rollover / lump sum over there. If we click on that, we can actually delete it from here. And once you delete that dummy rollover transaction event, the member balance will go back to the accumulation account again. And at that stage, the fund has successfully passing auditing and gets lodged. You may consider to remove the fund end date here and then proceed to submit the superstream request using the actual cash balance available at that time. Let's just go back to our slides. Okay, so we have finished our case study. Then we are going to discuss a very common question when we talk about the winding up fund in class. So when it comes to lodging the annual return for a winding up fund, a very common question we receive is how to do it before the end of the financial year. Typically, the SMSF annual return template isn't available on the ATO website until June. Currently, electronic lodgement via class is not available until the 1st of July. However, paper lodgement is available at any time during the year. To guide you through this process, please refer to our knowledge base article on how to lodge the annual return before the end of the financial year. Following the steps in this article, you can record the winding up date in the fund detail screen, finalize tax, and run necessary reports like annual return, CGT schedule, and losses schedule to prepare the paper lodgement. You can download the latest annual return from the ATO website. When dealing with the paper lodgement, you may consider crossing out 2023 at the top right corner and manually change it to 2024. There is a possibility of a read-only tax return link from class available around April or May, but even with this link, using the paper lodgement method may still be necessary before 30th of June. So in summary, while there is a current limitation in using clause for pre-30th of June lodgement, the mid-year tax finalization function in clause can help you to generate reports for paper lodgement purpose. Okay, thank you. And that's all for today. I understand that winding up is a hard topic, so please feel free to contact with our support team if you have any further questions about that. Thanks for your time.